Welcome to this introduction to our online class, which has quite an English title: Google Sheets as an app creation tool with AI assistance, unlocking new avenues for diverse applications. That's quite a long title. What this class is about is quite simply how to save time in creating something that's like an application, like an app, but doesn't take so much skill, doesn't take so much effort, doesn't take so much time, and can solve some real-world problems you have. My name is Professor Warden, and I'm going to be teaching this class. And this class has some unique aspects. I want to keep it case study focused. That is, I want to show you how these things actually work, what they do. Then I want to show you how you can do it. So this introduction begins something like this. Here's a framework or an overview of our class. In this class, we're going to use a structure which I call WWHBL. WWHBL. WWHBL means W what, another W why, H how, B build, and L launch. So we're going to look at what, why, how, build, and launch. Launch meaning actually use the application we build. So in this course, we're going to walk through the essential ideas and tools used across some case studies, and each case study will be one unit. This unit, the introduction, will set the stage and help you to get motivated into why is this helpful and can I do this? I think it's important at the introduction here to emphasize this course is targeting people who are not programmers, people who do not write software, but do use things like Google Sheets. This course is going to be focused on Google Sheets. I'm sure you've used them. You've also probably used Google Forms. So in this class, we're going to assume that you know something about Google, which I think most people do, specifically Google Sheets and Google Forms. I know that many people at offices, small offices, universities, and students use Google Forms very often. And Google Forms is really a great way to go ahead and hurry up and get some data from respondents. And it goes into a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet are the Google Sheets. So we've got the forms and the sheets. If you know how to use these two things, Google Sheets and Google Forms, then I think you're going to be very well positioned for this class. And in the end, what we're going to do is we're going to take these ideas and we're going to make them into apps or applications or programs that can do more work than you thought was possible. I know that you probably have often used your Google Forms to go ahead and maybe you've collected some questions or survey forms and have come into your sheets, and then you've taken those sheets and you've used them to collect some data, and then this data is maybe used for some kind of report or summary. So this is the way I think we've often used these, and it's very normal. It's a very good way to use your Google Sheets and your Google Forms. However, in this class, we're going to take it a step further. We're going to actually have our forms and our sheets be able to do more and to look more like an application, like a program, an app, an app. So that's the goal. Now don't be afraid, it's not as hard as it seems. I know it seems like it might be difficult, but the whole point of this is to save that trouble and to make it easier. At the high level that we're talking about, what we're really looking at is creating apps, but not using any actual code. We're going to solve real-world problems, and we're going to be using forms and then some formulas inside of the Google Sheets, and we're going to use some logic, and this is all going to make it look like we're creating an application or a software or a program. And we can call these maybe something like sheet apps, because they're not really apps, but they're more than just a regular Google Sheet. So this is the kind of fun part of this class. We're going to really make something. Now, why would we want to take this approach? Well, the real reason is because if you're going to make an app, an application, a program, you probably have to use a language. Let's say something like Python. Python's not a very hard language. It's pretty easy to learn. But the problem with using the Python is you then need to use something called an IDE, an integrated development environment. That is a program to help you organize your code. And inside there, you're going to have to write your code. And your code is going to have many functions. Okay, that's all fine. That's good. And those functions tell the app exactly what to do, which is fine. That's very good. Let's say you go ahead and you do that. Well, to do that, you need to be pretty good at doing things like your Python, right? You cannot be a beginner and just go ahead and do that. Now, you could use AI here to help you. Yes, AI can definitely help you. But even when you're finished, you've got this finished application here, and then you're going to ask people to go ahead and use it. So your users are going to use it. Okay, that's good. But let's say in the future, there's something here you want to change. Maybe there's something here that's written 1, 2, 3, but it should be 1, 2, 4. Now you need to change this. What are you going to do? Well, you need to go back into the code and make changes. Now, what if it's not the person who wrote the code, but somebody new, or a new employee, or another person? So let's say that Mr. A wrote the code, but now Mr. B needs to change the code. Well, we need to pass this on. Maybe Mr. B doesn't know how to change the code, or Mr. B never even met Mr. A. They don't know each other, right? They have no idea who's who. And Mr. B, if he looks at the code, he's like, what? What is this about? I don't understand Python. I don't know how to use Python. It's very hard. Okay, this has a name in programming. We call this refactoring code. So refactoring is very troublesome. Let me write it here. Refactor. Refactor means that you rewrite your code. Now, when you rewrite code, it's going to be very difficult to rewrite, or maybe just change a small part. It's going to be very, very hard. This is very hard. Why is this hard? Because, again, Mr. B needs to go back and figure out everything. The IDE, the code, the lines of code, the functions, and they don't really understand it that well. What if Mr. A is not very experienced in coding? They're going to be hard to write good code. Now, they can use AI, but again, they don't really understand what they're doing. If they don't understand, how's Mr. B going to understand? It's going to be even worse for Mr. B. So what we have here is a problem of, I would like to use AI to help me write an app. I would like to use Python to write an app, but I'm not that good at writing an app. And then in the future, other people in my office, they will not be good at writing an app. They won't understand it, and how are they going to change it? So this raises many issues. And the biggest issue, I think, is just how easy is it to modify or to change? This is really the goal that I'm looking for in this class. We want a way that we can go ahead and we can make some kind of app, some kind of program that users interact with. But I want the modification, I want the changing to be easy to change, especially what we call the UI, or the user interface. This part should be the thing that we change often, because we might have to write Chinese in it, or English in it, or Japanese. We might have to fix some spelling mistakes or change some colors. You know, when you make an app, of course, one of the things you do is you need to design the UI, the user interface. And when you design the user interface, you'll have things like text boxes, you'll have some words in it, you'll have some pictures in it maybe. And these things, when we test them, maybe the user will not like it. Maybe the user will say, hey, you know, I'm looking at this, maybe a user over here, and they say, this is not easy to use. Users like to say that. Not easy to use. And so what do? Well, you need to go ahead and you need to make some changes. So I want to make some changes. Where am I going to make the changes to? I'm going to make the changes to the UI, the user interface. So I'm probably going to just change some words, change some pictures. Now, if we're using Python, we need to write the code to change that. So that's a little bit hard. It has a learning curve. We need to learn a lot first. But if we're using Google Sheets, this can be very easy to do. So Google makes changing the UI very easy and very fast for making changes, for making improvements. And so that's the main advantage of this approach.